Hi, I'm James Hamilton from Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal, and today I'm going to show you how to get more from your combination square. When Leroy Sterrett invented the combination square in 1883, he intended for it to be a multifunctional tool, but most woodworkers only use one or two of its functions. There's so much more you can do with it, and once you figure that out, you wonder how you ever worked without it. I own three sizes: a short 4-inch for slipping my apron pocket, a 6-inch for day-to-day use, and a 12-inch with all the attachments for the bigger jobs. I own several different brands, including vintage squares from Stanley, Lufkin, and Brown & Sharp, as well as new squares from Sterrett and iGaging. If you're looking for a high-quality, reasonably priced square, I'll put some links in the notes below this video. Just click on Show More if you're watching this on YouTube. Now, let's get started with 10 ways I use my combination squares. Everybody knows you can use a combination square to check a 90-degree angle. A 6-inch square works well for most of those tasks, especially checking the angle of your saw blade or your jointer fence. But a shorter 4-inch square is better suited for a bandsaw if you don't have a lot of resaw height. For larger jobs, I prefer a longer 12-inch rule, because the longer the rule is, the easier it is to see if something's out of square. Of course, any tri-square can be used to check a 90-degree angle, but only a combination square is capable of also checking the second most common angle in woodworking, 45 degrees. In fact, I often remove the body from my 6-inch or my 12-inch square and use it to set the bevel angle on my table saw or my bandsaw or even the jointer. A combination square makes an excellent depth gauge too. For example, I recently used one to measure the depth of a mortise, and then I transferred that measurement to the mating tenon stock. A while back, I used a combination square to measure the depth of the slot for a tapered sliding dovetail joint, which I then transferred to my router table. Which brings us to another use. Combination squares can be used to set your bits and your blades. We already talked about checking your fences and blades for a square, but a combination square may also be used to accurately set the height of a router bit or a blade. I sometimes use the scale like this, but more often than not, I just set the body to the mark on the scale I want. Then I stand the rule on end and I raise the bit until it touches the body. This method really pays off at the table saw, where it can be difficult to find the exact apex of the blade. Besides setting up your cuts, a combination square may also be used to fine-tune a machine. By placing the edge of the body in the miter slot and extending the rule until it just touches the tooth on your table saw blade, you can see if the blade is parallel to the miter slot, a critical setting on any saw. You can also use a similar method to ensure the fence is also parallel to the slot. This can also come in handy at the router table for times when that fence must be parallel to the miter slot. The rule may be used to ensure your jointer's outfeed table is even with the cutters. Then you can check the depth of the cut by measuring the distance between the two tables. Speaking of the rule, a good square has one that's ground precisely straight. Use it to check a workpiece for flatness or even the sole of a plane. And the clear, precise graduation marks on the scale are far more accurate for layout than a measuring tape will be. Speaking of layout, one of my favorite combination square tricks is drawing lines parallel to an edge. I just set the body to the mark on the scale that I want, place a pencil on the end of the rule, and then drag the body against the edge of the workpiece. This same process makes it possible to draw a line perpendicular to an edge that's much longer than the length of the rule. You'll find that the end of the rule is as handy as the edge. I use it to precisely position parts during project assembly, setting a piece a certain distance from an edge or even making sure that it's parallel. Woodturners aren't the only ones who occasionally need to find a center of a round object. Deluxe combination squares come with a center finding attachment. Another deluxe attachment that works with a combination square is a protractor. With this, your square is capable of measuring any angle, not just 45 degrees. Most squares also come equipped with a level. It may be a little short for framing a house, but it's ideal for small jobs like hanging picture frames or even cabinets. I'm sure with a little thought, you could come up with even more ways to use this versatile tool. If you have a good one, take care of it. If you don't, check out the links below. And be sure to check out the latest issue of Stumpy Nubs Woodworking Journal. It's always full of great tips, tricks, and tutorials designed to make you a better woodworker. You can read and subscribe for free at stumpynubs.com. Happy squaring!